Thank you, Kiran. Uh, some of the introduction is slightly, I'm overrated there. I do speak languages, but not like a native. For example, the one I'm speaking now. So it's very difficult to be everything. I know I've tried as an actor. Here I am talking to you. I'm here with the same angst and anxiety that you are here to even listen to me. I'm sure that some of you here know much more about what I'm going to talk about than even I do. But that doesn't matter. It's not about statistics. It's not. That's why I don't have a PowerPoint presentation for you. There's no PowerPoint presentation. I think you've seen enough of it. Enough of promises and very little delivery. So here I am talking along with you. I think the time has come when we as citizens will have to have this dialogue, at least with ourselves, before we go marching against the fort. And the time has come now. And the reason why we suffer today's malady is because people like those who are in this room kept away from it in fear of dirtying their hands by mere touch. I think time has changed now, and the reason why I'm here, I'm an actor. That's how you've known me. What has pushed me to take that leap of faith that I've taken is a call which comes from within. While you talk to friends, you sort of resemble them in their anxiety and anger. And that's what pushed me into politics. I can't even believe that I'm saying this word so smoothly, because I used to even avoid this word before when I was in public platforms. Now I have boldly, I wouldn't say gladly, but boldly have taken the step forward, because I think I'm duty bound to do it. And so are you. So when I say I actually mean we. So please do not expect me to perform miracles. I'm not here for that. I'm here to remind you what could be done. You know about it. We all know about it. Why we didn't is the question. This speech is not going to be very long. This is just to elicit the knowledge that you already have about how great we are as a state. Apart from Madras being one of the oldest cities in the country, the oldest city, you could say, it has so much of history. They say that the place, the holy place called Sri Rangam, is holy because it's besides two rivers, Renda Trinkarai. They say that. But so is Chennai. Through disregard and sheer neglect, we have turned those two rivers into two sewers. We are all responsible. We have, in our own little way, contributed to that sewer turning darker and darker. As a boy, I remember many political parties of various hues promising me that they'll clean up that. Even the simplest of that civic duty was not done. I never questioned it. I thought somebody else will do it. Probably they're busy doing something important, and they will do it later when I'm about in my teens. It didn't happen. Now I'm in my 60s, and it still has not happened. And some of you, I'm sure, do share the same anger and angst as I do. That's why we are here. This is an old phrase, the title we came up with it, be the change is what Mr. Gandhi said, become the change. But I think that I fully understand and believe that it can't be done alone. The very reason that I've come to meet you here is to garner the power, the synergy that you can offer for this kind of a dream that I have, that you have. We must go forward and do something, and that's why I'm in this, what I wouldn't like to call it game. I came into it, and it's not a game for me. I'm very serious about what I'm doing, and I'm spending my money. We've still not collected funds from outside. Some of my party people are here. They know. It is truly a leap of faith. And you being entrepreneurs, you will know how it is to enter with serious business intent and the passion to deliver. I've been a small-time entrepreneur. I know people have met me. Some in the room have been my partners in the business that I've done. I'm not too bad at what I was doing. But looking at where I'm going, you might say, how are you qualified? I know it's not the right question to ask. How are they qualified? Tell me. Touch your heart and tell me. That is not the only qualification with which I'm coming here. I have something in me that you will all understand, however tight-lipped you are or the smirk you have, that will go away when you know that I'm right earnest about why I'm here. I'm not going to debate or tell you about what can be done for the state of Tamil Nadu. I'm just going to ask you, what should we do? That's why I'm here. So let me not pretend to be anything else. Like Kiran said in his introduction, that I'm unapologetically honest. And that's what I'm being now. I've come here to take your help to push forward Tamil Nadu. That Tamil Nadu, which had duty-free ports in times of Chola. That Tamil Nadu could go from Tanjore, conquer till Cambodia, come back, form a government, leave it there, and still control it from Tanjore. That's what we are. That's what we were. Why aren't we that now? We do evoke those big names, politically speaking, every time we are speaking about the kings. But we made paupers of ourselves. Look at what the Exchequer has to say about the Tamil Nadu fiscal position. Every Tamilian will have to pay a debt of 45,000 now. Every Tamil citizen bears it on his shoulder that he is now Tamil sonna kadangana. So 7.5 கோடி கடங்காரங்க plus more 45,000 ரூபா கடன் ஒவ்வொருத்தர் தலையிலையும் இருக்கு. So how did it happen? And now it is 17,000 crores deficit, and they see that it will go up to 25,000 crores. We're watching it rise. We see the mercury, the heat rising. We've done nothing about it. But we can. We can empower ourselves. And I don't have to tell the people here how they can empower themselves. There are people who could sort of move mountains here, write editorials. Ram is here, he could write an editorial, an angry editorial. But all that is also needed. But what we need to do now is individual contribution. I've done my bit. I've gone forward. Much, much more. I've stuck my neck out. I need not do it. It's not a sacrifice. I want to do it. Please help me. I walked 4 or 5 steps ahead. Take that one step forward. You can do it. Well, how can I do it when RK Nagar buys out voters? You might say. You can educate them, because I tried. I spoke to the people of RK Nagar. First they were angry that I told them that they brought their hand lower when it should have been up. And they received, you're calling us beggars. Yeah, I'll call you anything I want because you're my family. Till you realize what you've done is wrong, I'll keep reminding you. I told this to about 300 people who came from RK Nagar. We had a heated conversation, and by the end of it, they said, in Tamil, "Inime panna matanga." Well, I believe them. But you'll have to convince them that 5,000 rupees divided into 5 years will amount to 90 paisa per day. And that's not going to help them. They could probably earn 1 lakh, 2 lakhs in the same time, maybe more. Depends. As entrepreneurs, you know that it's possible. I truly believe the future is not for big monolithic corporations, but what's going to tide over all these deficits is the small entrepreneur in Tamil Nadu. And I look forward for their hand to help me strengthen not only my party, but Tamil Nadu. Is this a political meeting? Yes. Is it not a political meeting? Yes. It's both. But you can't be apolitical in a very politicized state like Tamil Nadu. We have to take that step forward. If you feel a bit embarrassed, don't be. I used to be. Please step forward. What am I to do? Come up with ideas, we'll copy you. I don't think I'll have to pay copyrights for it, because we are building a nation here. And that's all I want to say. I'm not brought you numbers. These numbers are enough to wake us up, what I gave you. We are all indebted to Tamil Nadu and because of Tamil Nadu. Now it's time that we sort of shake our heads, put our heads together, tell me what could be done. I'll try. That's why I'm here. So as I told you, no PowerPoint presentation, no numbers, you know it all. I just have to walk in through the aisle and keep asking for details, and I'll get it in this crowd itself. So instead of waxing eloquent on a subject we all know about, I'll take questions from you, which will be better for me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll now be opening up the floor for Q&A. I just have a request before we start off. If you could please keep your questions brief, and if you have more to share, we request you to take it offline with the speaker. We can start now. Yes, please. Mobile phones off.
My name is Jay. You talked about Tamil Nadu. You talked about Tamil Nadu, but you're the first leader who in a symbol has talked about South India. What are your views on South India?
No, I'm not able to hear properly. Could you?
You've talked about Tamil Nadu today, but in your symbol, those hands,
Yeah.
you talked about South India. So you're the first leader who has talked about South India. So what are your views on South India going forward?
See, I have certain things which might be very frightening to the pundits of the Dravidian theory, because I'm taking it into a larger spectrum than it actually belongs to. They're trying to hold down to the copyright of Dravidianism as such. It's just an anthropological, geographical name. And if you ask me, Dravidianism is pan-Indian. That's what I believe. Well, if you look at it that way, things change. Your political view changes. And that's what happened to me. I truly believe that the south of India could be easily called Dravidian, instead of two houses, political houses, holding the rights to it. I truly believe that we all can unite, and I'm not being racial or parochial here. I'm trying to synergize that, and that's what I meant when I sort of symbolized the six hands. It means the 6 states of South India. For those who might have already guessed, it's redundant to explain. But it's about the 6 states of Tamil Nadu. Imagine another voice equal to that of UP, Bihar, and Madhya Pradesh coming from here. And I'm not talking about combat. I'm talking about equal voicing for the sake of people. And that's what I believe, and that's why that symbol. And I don't know whether they'll buy it, but I wish they do.
The idea of CIC, which is where you are sitting and you are being hosted, was in part germinated on the belief or on the presupposition that the intellectual gravitas of Chennai in particular has been deteriorating over a period of time. You have been a free-spirited, independent-thinking individual even before you took the plunge. So in your narrative and in your scheme of things, what would you be doing to kind of, bring this up?
To bring what up, sir?
The deteriorating intellectual gravitas of the city of Chennai.
That's a larger question that ails India, not just Tamil Nadu. And I think we'll all have to pitch in there, because we've just let those people, we dumbed ourselves down for communication, thinking it's for better communication. Don't, because it's a great responsibility to teach, to impart. And we have sort of shrugged our shoulders and said, he's dumb, let him be there. I'll dumb myself down and I'll talk to him. That's where we went wrong, and that's what we shouldn't do. If you talk to me about my films, yes, I used to do that. I said, these people are dumb, so let's give them the masala they want, make my money, and walk out. And then somewhere, beginning of my career, probably the arrogance of youth, I don't know what it is, or ignorance of youth, I think I thought that I could impart what I have known and much more to them if I could elicit their interest in intelligent cinema. And that's what I did with cinema. I was able to bring that intelligence to cinema. First it sounded like a boast, and then I proved the point. Well, it is not a genius cinema, but it was much more intelligent than my peers. I could say that boldly, and they caught up, and some of them even bettered me. So I kept that pressure. I gave them that peer pressure, and they returned the favor. And that's what we should do. You are right. Yes, the gravitas, the intelligence level, we are letting it go. We can't just blame it on education. The government, which should be running educational institutions and see to it that it runs properly, instead is busy running Taskmark, which any small-time entrepreneur could take up and do. Why do we need IAS officers to sell booze? Thank you.
Sir, a few years ago, inspired by the Barack Obama movement, a lot of us intellectuals...
Can you turn the speaker? I'm not able to.
A lot of intellectuals who traditionally did not engage in politics threw in their lot with India Against Corruption, later the Aam Aadmi Party. I think most of us feel like we got burned and used. What are you going to do differently that will give us the belief that we won't get burned or used again?
See, I met Mr. Kejriwal, so his learning curve has become mine also now. That's a great investment that he has done for my sake. Yes, he has been ridiculed, he stumbled a bit, but he's still there. He's not gone. That challenge to the status quo still exists, and that's what I'm here, and I've learned from his experience, so I will have that edge. That's what I can do. I can go into details and tell you how differently we are going to do, but that will be opening up a book to you, which will be too boring for others here. But we can talk about it, sir, because I seriously believe that honesty and earnestness need not fail. It can win.
Moral standards and moral values seem to be at an all-time low today. Is it an upbringing issue? Is it a breakdown of joint family system? Is it an education issue? What are the reasons for this falling in moral values?
I think this kind of a complaint has been there. I've heard my father say that. And now I've heard my elder brother, who's 24 years older than me. My father is 50 years older than me. So it's the same dialogue, it's the same script that we are reading from. And I think, yes, it seems like the moral values are very low. But if you read a Mahabharata or Ramayana, it hasn't been any better than it was. We are trying to get there. We are trying to get better. And it's not enough. That much I can tell you. But sudden panic about the values dropping, I don't think we need to panic that much, but we can pick it up. I mean, perk up and change it. Now, I've been trained, as you said, it's upbringing also. I've been trained by my parents to think positively. And I'm sure that way Madras, Chennai, Tamil Nadu thinks positively. Otherwise, why would it survive in spite of those in the fort?
Yeah, so I just have a question.
Sir.
For some 50-odd years, politicians have forgotten almost totally about economics or development, particularly in this state. I'm happy you are aware of the amount of indebtedness. Can it go a little farther? You have also started with agitation mode, rushing to Sterlite Industries and all. Look at the data. In the last 6 years, Tamil Nadu has about 1 lakh plus agitations. The next state is far behind. Punjab is just little over 40,000. And every day we have, like your Vishwarupam or any at the top of a hat, you have somebody ready to indulge in an agitation. Can't you be a little different? Is one. Two, the economic platform, I am looking at it for over 50 years, and I have been depressed about it because every one of the politicians in the last 51 years has been concerned about the next election. They are about the freebies, the grants, the doles and other things. Will you be different? Will you have an economic platform where you will generate the resources needed for paying for the development? I don't hear of any development because of the income revenue of 170,000 crore. 3 items account for more than 180,000 crore. I don't know whether you have done that economics. I'm telling you this. 3 items, government salaries and pensions, interest and subsidies. These 3 account for 180,000 crore. Our total revenues are 170,000 crore. So you borrow more and you make India more indebted, the Tamilian more indebted. Will you have some attention? Because I have not seen the succession of chief ministers looking at economics. They are worried about winning the next election. I don't have a plan even for the next 10 years by any one of them. Will you be different in this? You have started well because none of our earlier politicians had this rapport in speaking in English and reaching with the elite. You are making different. Likewise, force also focus on college students, the 18 to 35 category of people who are not much involved in politics or in any of this. Focus on this, that will do you a lot of good.
Thank you. It's more an advice than a question, so I'll take it because I do understand what you're saying, sir, because we are looking at it. There are people helping us in Harvard. We call them the H17. There are 17 people sitting and working out details that I truly am not an expert on, but they are working on it for our sake. They're breaking down the verticals and also working on, because we're going to be left with the 25,000 lakh crores or something like that by the time it's 2020. That's what they project the losses, deficit will be. So we'll have to think seriously about how there'll be drastic changes. There'll be more marches, as you said, if anybody tries to make those changes. And as far as these agitations are concerned, I'll tell you why I was involved in some of the agitations. The blatant flouting of rules cannot be done. I'm not against industry at all, because without that, the state will not stand on its feet. But it can't be a secret deal between the government and the industrialists. That has to go, because we have to go by the limits that has been set by a civic society, a wise society, and internationally agreed upon things. Like you can't speed on a highway because you paid the higher officials. You're going to kill somebody, probably kill yourself. That's what is happening. We are actually killing, and I can embolden myself to say that because of one factory, people are dying in Thoothukudi. I've been there, I've talked to experts on both sides, heard their defenses. I think that businessman can be ambitious, brave, bold, but not avaricious. Because to quote Mr. Gandhi again, there's enough, nature has enough for everyone's need, but not for any man's greed. So we will look at it, sir, and we'll probably come to you and boldly ask you, tell you that, tell us where we are wrong, because we want to be right, so we are willing to learn and listen to what could go wrong with our plans.
Could I ask you another question? I know Mr. Vishwanath just now talked about leaders having a vision, particularly an economic vision. I have a much more difficult question to ask you. How do you really plan to get elected?
How do I really?
Plan to get elected. I mean, we've heard the nature of the electorate, we've heard the nature of politics, and it's really remarkable that people like you are willing to plunge into politics. But I've been around for nearly 60 years in this field, and I think the first thing is to get elected. And I think there you run into a major. I want to know if you have a plan which is different from the normal. I mean, I know that MGR came in and he could win an election. We had NTR in Andhra, etc. But I think today the nature of politics and nature of elections has undergone such fundamental changes that you really require a group of people who can work in a particular fashion. Do you have? Because otherwise, I'm not trying to be despondent on this matter, but it's important for us that people like you come into politics. And I think you need a far more detailed thought process, which I presume we may be having. But I think this is the graveyard. I also know Arvind Kejriwal to some extent. He came in on a wave. You can see the problems he's facing now. But I think I'm not talking about what you'll do after. H17 and others may help you. But for people like us, our worry is that people like you may not be able to get elected, particularly in the climate that exists today, when psychometrics and others are playing such an important role in running an election. So do you have a plan or a sort of a system that you can outline? Thank you.
A very pertinent question. It almost sounds like a threat coming from the opposition. But yes, sir, we do have a plan, but it's an old-fashioned plan. But it is there. I'm not reinventing the wheel. We are going ahead with what is available, the party structure, the booths, going down to the grassroots level, having one man at least for every street in Tamil Nadu, covering the 50,000, 60,000 odd villages, and having sizable representation in all the 12,524 panchayats. All that we are working on. But those are things that anyone with focus will be able to know. But there is an edge that we're trying to gain. That's the media that I know about. We are going to talk to people, but that alone still not. Your fear, that alone will not work. So I have the same fear that you have, but I will work with people like you, much more people down there in the grassroots level. You'll be surprised that the concern that you have exhibited comes from down below with an older gentleman about our age, your age, still pedaling a cycle rickshaw. He asked me the same question. We want you, but how are you going to do it in this climate? That itself is a good climate to begin with, but that won't do. We're working on the numbers, and I think I wouldn't like to divulge anything. Probably I'll talk to you in private, but I wouldn't like to show my modus operandi to my oppressors yet.
Yeah, I just have a question, sorry. Excuse me, yeah.
Yeah.
So, as citizens of this state, do you think that we have the mental maturity to carry your vision to the next stage, especially the way in which the recent protest scene have spanned out as far as the CMB goes, as in like it was targeted at a game? Do you think that we have the mental maturity to be a carrier for your vision?
There, I'm talking to that mental maturity right now. So that is the thing. You raised the question. That is the mental maturity. It's there in this room. So why not the state? But not all will think alike, because it's a quick fix situation. I've been there in the business of grabbing limelight. It's a silly game to play. And I think they marched on the wrong arena. They went where 22 players were playing. They should have gone a little further, just a kilometer away, 2 maybe. And they should have gone to where 234 are playing with our lives, instead of these 22 players. They should have marched on Fort St. George. I would have been there if they had done that, because that's where I'm focusing on. That place needs cleaning up. And you know it. You may not be right now ready to say it. I'm not talking about braveness. It's discretion is the better part of valor. So probably that's why you're being discreet. But you need your frontline soldier. I'm that. And support me with your wisdom. I will show you my valor.
It's so heartening to know that a person like you entering politics. And as a citizen, what way we can help you, or what way we can contribute to your movement, because we want you to be in power.
Thank you. It's the most important question. And I'm glad you asked. You have the answer. Fortunately for this question, you yourself have the answer. I can only second the motion of please do something about it. Whatever you think you can, offer it. I've taken the help of these gentlemen who ask questions. And it's not, this conversation is not going to end with this podium. I'm going to further go and meet them, talk to them, and ask them. And we might agree to disagree or totally disagree, but it doesn't matter. But I would have a point of view which is very important for me, at least, if not for the state. So that's what you can do. Tell me what you're interested in. Tell us what's your area of focus. And every area needs to be attended to. So we'll find something for you to do. And it's your job. It's not doing my party's job. My party is just a tool. And that I'm offering to you. So wield it. Wield that tool and find out, go back tonight, think how you can do it. Because it's these kind of earnest, passionate minds that's going to build Tamil Nadu. Not strategic, cunning minds who are trying to grab the seat in the assembly. That will happen too. But you need to come and talk. Let's see what happens to what they do with the Lokayukta. Then we can talk a little louder.
Sir, everybody says the Tamil Nadu main income is in the TASMAC. What do you think the alternative for or anything is alternative for that income?
No, there are so many things. Sir, do you want me to be...
the main income வந்து டாஸ்மாக் தான் எல்லாரும் சொல்றாங்க.
இல்லைங்க. டாஸ்மாக் ஒரு இன்கம் தான் இல்லைங்களே. மெயின் இன்கம்னு சொல்லல. நான் மெயின் இன்கம் என்னங்கிறது சொல்றேன்.
மேஜர் இன்கம்னு சொல்றேன்.
மேஜர் இன்கம்ங்கிறது என்னங்கிறது சொல்றேன். which should have come to us and it's not come to us. What they take away for themselves is the main income that Tamil Nadu should get. அவ்வளவுதான், வெரி சிம்பிள். அதுக்கு நிகரான எந்த பணமும் வந்துடாது நம்ம. ஏன்னா பிகாஸ் தீஸ் ஆர் 234 people working on it day and night. And that is more. டாஸ்மாக் வந்து சார் அது வந்து ஒரு வியாபாரம் தானே சார். அதை வந்து பண்ணலாம் சார். அது ரெண்டு பேர் பண்ணுறது தான் தப்புங்கிறேன் நான்.
அதுக்கு ஈக்குவலா ஒரு இன்கம் ஜெனரேட் பண்ணனும்னா நீங்க என்ன திங்க் பண்ணீங்க?
இல்ல பண்ணலாம் சார். there are so many things. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் திருடாம இருக்கிறது வந்து பெரிய இன்கம் for the people. இதுக்கு மேல அசிங்கமா சொல்ல முடியாது.
Thank you.
In order to change the situation, we need an analysis of what has happened. So what is your analysis of this strange phenomenon? Two Dravidian movement parties have ruled the state and continue to rule the state, one or the other, since 1967. And no so-called national party, that is all India party, has had a look in. One party has declined, that used to be rather important as a junior partner. The other seems to be nowhere in the state. So what is your understanding of is Tamil Nadu unique in its characteristics?
It is. You know, I think we might have had this conversation sometime during our dialogues together. The fact is, the Dravidian movement was not cooked up. It happened because it was the need of the hour at that time, Justice Party and all that. They felt aggrieved and they thought of it, and they were educated people who came in, and it was a need of the hour. Otherwise, if Mr. Karunanidhi or Mr. Annadurai have not come into politics, it still would have happened. But it would have taken a different course. We don't know how it would have gone. But it was the need of the hour. But that need has been watered down by politicians who were far too avaricious to think about a larger thing that we all know. I don't have to name names now, but that's where it is. And it's an idea that they expounded upon and garnered votes through. The idea still remains. It's a valid idea if you don't get into knee-jerk hyperbole about the whole thing, which is what has been happening for the past 40 years at least. It's all about rhetorics and saying the same thing and not meaning business. They had a theory, and they went in, it all started well. Like most great institutions, the rise and fall is what we have seen. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you for reminding us about the debt we owe the government, 45,000 rupees. One of the reasons is you have...
Little closer.
Yeah, one of the reasons is we have a building, secretariat, where we spend 1,000 crores. And overnight, somebody comes in and converts it into a hospital, spending another 1,000 crores. We drive past, watch the Cauvery. There are so many concrete structures for crores and crores have been spent. Now, how do you expect us to change this as citizens? We all know about this. We talk about this, but we are not able to do anything about it. How do you expect us to change?
Yeah.
You want us to take a step forward. We are willing to take a step forward. But how will you help us out of this?
Now, I'll take that 4 steps forward. Just when I look back, I must see a crowd behind me because they'll sort of stamp me down. It depends which Caesar rules. If it's Claudius, you can talk to him. If it's Caligula, you don't talk to him. He'll kill you. So that's where we are today. And this is ridiculous because it's the biggest monument of hubris, what you're talking about. That building is the biggest monument of political hubris at play in Tamil Nadu. And we've been all witnesses to that and mute witnesses at that. This voice you've raised is that step forward. That answer that I give is the second step. Now, there are further, long way to go ahead, but we must address this directly. As you have noticed that I'm not holding back any of the words. But yes, I'm holding back the punch because I don't want this to turn violent. I want it to be a very strong, caustic debate, but not turn violent as it turned in the IPL agitation. That's no route to take. We will, yes. No more, you left out the library. There are so many important buildings. And it's all eyewash when you say, I'll change it into a hospital. This building was not constructed to be a hospital. There's no design. And ask a doctor here, he'll tell you that that place is not fit to be a hospital. It's meant for another purpose. It's turning the opera house into a hospital. It's built for an opera, and you turn it into a hospital. And these are the kind of mistakes which have been consistently happening. And if I ask somebody, what is the answer for these 2 sewers? And the answer I got is so logical, so simple, and it made me look so stupid for having asked that question. They said, make big pipes, and he almost made it sound like, watch my lips. He's an engineer. He said, make 2 big pipes which can take your sewer, put it on either side of the existing river because you're so used to putting it all into the river, but instead put it into that pipe and drive it straight into the sea, and somewhere in the sea you can have a treatment plant or just leave it in the sea. It's better than, and the river will take care of itself in 10 years. Dredge the river, that's all you have to do. It's as simple as that. That's one of the suggestions. I don't know whether it's the wisest suggestion, but we haven't even tried that. I've been hearing this nonsense of making it into Thames River and going on cruise boats. And that I really believed that it's going to happen. The year was 1969, and they promised me that they will do it. I was dreaming of sailing that river. It never happened.
Let me ask a question. A lot of people start coming into politics with good intent. And somehow when they come into politics, things change. I mean, either the power or the authority or the intent to get re-elected somehow changes them. So if you do get elected, what would you do to keep yourself grounded and not ensure that you go down a route where you might change as a person as a result of what?
That's what they asked me, what will you do if you do become what you aspire to be? What will be the first signature? I said the Lok Ayuktha bill. That will put an eye on me. So your question is answered there. Somebody asked me in the stock exchange in Bombay, how can we trust you? I said, sir, please don't. Keep an eye on me. That's all. That's all we have to do. That's what we are doing now. By talking about this, we have to keep that vigil. We cannot relax. It's like maintaining your tummy or your house or your toilet. It can't go into the cloud. I was talking that day and said everything will go into the clouds and we can solve all our problems. Not the flushing of your toilet. That can't go into the cloud. That we have to take care of. So that's what we have to do. You will have to. You were there when I made the decision. I told you 6 years back, 5 years maybe. So this is where I am now. We are having the same conversation in a more calmer atmosphere.
What happened 5 years ago?
No, I must tell you that. We were both connected. Nothing happens as a single incident, the butterfly effect. We're trying to release a film called Vishwarupam, which was bid for by the then Chief Minister and the government, who also ran the television channel, and it went wrong because we can't play by those rules. That's the simplest way. And I was pushed beyond limit. I'm a small man, a small entrepreneur running a company. It doesn't need a government to crush me. Another intelligent peer can ruin me with a better film. So that kind of a small businessman, and they came heavily down on me. What they didn't expect is that I will turn back and answer. I told them that I've been always thinking of this, but now you give me 6 years. That's what I told him. He might remember that. 6 years, and I'll be there to talk to you again. And we are talking now. It doesn't matter where we go, how far we go, but that spirit, the tenacity of purpose drives you, drives me. And that's why I believe this dialogue will go further beyond this room and more. Thank you. Thank you for raising that question.
Yeah, I have a question, sir. You have talked about the IPL, so I'm tempted to ask you a question on why the IPL matches were banned here. Why is it that the film industry gave a call? I'm sorry, this could be a little embarrassing for you, but I feel it is relevant. IPL matches were banned here, and there's a call given because of the, there was a call for it.
No, it was not banned, but let me
there was a
go
call
back.
for an agitation, so it was taken a call. In fact, there was a call from the film industry, which talked about it, saying that, yes, IPL matches, they should wear black badges, so even it's better off if matches are not played in Chennai. And what I hear from the police department, I don't know how far it is true, probably the press or somebody could. Last night I got to know that the IPL decided to cancel the matches, all the series, because the mobs were about to let loose some snakes in the stadium. This was what is the thought process. Now the issue is completely different here. The film industry wanted to protest against this. They want the movies to run, but not the IPL matches. By the banning of this, state lost a lot of revenue. I'm only talking of, if we are talking of something change, should we not look at creating something different from being a mobocracy?
So, you see, let me hark back to 1934. The Ranji Trophy was first played in Chennai. So the regression, 1934, isn't it? Yeah. The regression, we have regressed since then. As I said in my in an answer to a previous question, that they went to the wrong venue to agitate. They should have gone to the fort, and that's where things went wrong. IPL had nothing to do with it. And yes, I know, sometimes people might ask, what's salt got to do with the British getting out of India? Yes, there is a connection. But the way we dealt with it, that's why some people who are caustic critics of Mr. Gandhi say that that is the biggest street theatre ever performed in India. The Dandi March was the biggest street theatre performance. But it doesn't matter, it was done very decently, unlike the IPL agitation, which went wrong on both sides. We don't know yet. But the answer to the snakes in the park, or snakes in the thing, is not a mongoose. I can't say that you let 200 snakes, I'll let 200 mongoose to combat the thing. We will turn it into a zoo. That's what's been happening. They missed the point and digressed. And also the agitation, we don't know where. Well, people say that they were attacked, and police say they were attacked, but we don't know, because we saw in Jallikattu what happened. There was excess. I had pointed it out on Twitter, where the police excess was there. But you must understand, police will behave if they get the right command from the top. They have to. That's how the system operates. If there is excess at the top, and they have given that command. And that's how it'll happen. And it's gotten out of hand. It was politicized. And we will always feel bad about it. But the fact remains that Chennai has a large heart, and it starts from 1934, Ranji Trophy onwards. That's the spirit, that's the tradition that we should. Believe me, I used to play cricket. I'm not interested in cricket anymore. Got nothing to do with Mr. Bernard Shaw. I simply lost interest in that game.
Hi, about going into the elections, right? So who are your men going to be? Because it's not just about you, it is the government, so it should be a representation for every assembly. So who are these men? Who are they going to be? Have you chosen them already, or do you have criteria with respect to that?
It's too early to choose that. I am only building a strong structure. Then when the election comes, we'll do the choice, and it has to be according to what kind of responsibility they're going to take and how they are qualified. Simply the numbers and their garnering votes is not going to do the trick. We'll have to make a very hard decision when the time comes. Now is not the time to talk about who will be the minister or MLA, because we have to sit and talk about it. And first, you'll have to believe the candidate, and he'll make you understand his earnestness. That is when the time comes. Right now, we don't know. All of us are working passionately towards a goal, not towards a chair. None of us are looking at chairs. So that's a good place to begin with. Yes, you can come and interact with some of our party members, and you will probably be able to find your leader there. Thank you.
So may I ask a question, sir?
Hi. I have a very fundamental question. Do you think the citizens of Tamil Nadu, the voter disenchantment with the political parties is real? I ask this question because as a state, our GDP has always been good. We are probably the second or third largest contributor. And that's why we're fighting for the Finance Commission. And you go into the villages, there are schools, there's enough electricity everywhere, and a lot of good things that people have got. And the people are not aspirational beyond that because they don't know anything better. They don't know that they're not getting good quality education. As urban voters, we understand that there is corruption, industry is getting stopped, we understand that the comb is dirty. So, and as urban voters, we don't go to vote because we travel during the months of election. So, the real voters, do you really think there is a disenchantment with what is happening? Because things are happening around them, and to boot it all, they get the money on the day they go to vote, and they get the TASMAC. So how do you address somebody there who may not even be, interested in a change that is so elusive that they don't even aspire for it?
Can I give you a suggestion? That is, if you're willing to take it, that is. You said you'll go on a vacation during vote. Don't. To begin with. And stay there, and your conscientiousness should be passed on to probably your household help, because you will talk to them more. They spend nearly 6-7 hours in your house, the workers. Have a small tutorial about their rights. You can do it, and you have the tenacity of purpose. Talk to them, and they will listen to you. And you'll have to put forward this bad deal that they are getting, because 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 will not tide them over the 5 years they are selling away. That's a deal that they will understand. You'll have to make them understand we as a party are trying to reach out, and you'll be surprised how open they are to that. And they said, okay, now really tell us, will it be more than 5,000, 15,000? They are willing to engage in a dialogue, which is good, because that's a step forward. But that doesn't ensure success. Well, you're not going away on a vacation, might not be the full thing, but we all have to try from multi-directions and talk to them. And you'll be surprised that they are more keen and concerned, almost as concerned as you are. Their everyday pressures, fiscal pressures, are pushing them towards that, and they feel ashamed about it. Because I was not telling you a story or embellished version of it. People from RK Nagar actually came and said sorry. They need not tell me that. And I had no investment in RK Nagar, my party was not, but they came and said, you called us names, we were angry, but now we are saying sorry. And they came and they registered into the party. That's a step forward. Will they vote or not? That's another question. We'll see. But please help us. Talk to your friends and tell them that this could go wrong if you keep taking money. It'll get you further into debts. Make them understand that they already have 45,000 rupees debt. And that 45,000 came from that 5,000 they got. Thank you.
My question relates to what they described as the problem of dirty hands in politics. That is, can you fight elections innocently without collecting huge amounts of money? Especially in Tamil Nadu, where you seem to be having to pay party workers and at times voters as well. So how do you fight elections without collecting money?
I'm willing to fight. I'm willing to lose. And I'm more than willing to win, but it'll be done in a certain way. I am not going to pay my voter. This is a declaration which could be ruinous for a party, but I dare say that I will not pay. But he'll be paid 10 times over if he votes for the right party. That will be our slogan. That's what we'll be talking to them. And about funds, yes, we will require funds, We might even come to you, sir, for that. But the thing is, it'll be open, above board, and once our party is registered, we'll definitely come to you. There's enough money. There's enough for any political party's need within the society. But when it's accompanied with greed, there isn't enough money, because this 17 lakh crores or whatever it is not enough, because they're still working to fill their personal coffers. It's still happening. Ask any businessman in Tamil Nadu, any business. It's going into the coffers, which is not our common coffer.
So just to add on, I'm Aaron. Just to add on, sir, you came alone in one car. We have never seen somebody who's in politics come in one car. We have always seen them coming in 15, 20 cars. And as a youth, as an youngster of who's here, we feel, we are not inclusive. And I'm speaking for all the youth of Tamil Nadu. When politicians move, once they are in power, then we feel that, it's over. After elections, everything is over. Now you wait for 5 years. I request you, sir, the way you came in today, we like to see you more.
Yeah, let me, this was not for dramatic effect. This is how I always travel. But if you had invited some of the party, you forgot to include 2 of my party members have come here. That's 2 more cars. You didn't count. But they came quietly on their own. They had no sirens. But if you had invited 20 of us, there would have been at least 4 or 5 cars. Yeah, we don't mind jumping into it. But those numbers, that doesn't show anything. I mean, but the thing is, genuinely, you should be. I've seen Mr. Kakan come to my house in a cycle rickshaw. So it's possible. I've seen people who have been, who set the precedent. My father cycled around Paramakudi. He had 2 cars. But they invariably went out to help other people in marriages or somewhere where they wanted to show off. Our car has gone for Janavasams to somewhere nearby village for something. But he always traveled in a cycle. My father has not taken a flight. He has not gone by first class through his life. And I've seen people like that. I may not go to that end of sacrifice, but they won't be pomp and show. We are in the business of pomp and show. We know how to do it, but we will refrain from doing it. Thank you for noticing it. Thank you.
So, I have a question. So one of the things that we can relate to is the fact that the city obviously needs a lot of infrastructure building up. What aches us is the state of the 2 rivers, as you said, right? There was a time when Singapore came to Chennai to find inspiration. Today, Singapore has gone leaps and bounds, and Chennai is pretty much floating in sewers. You're fighting for a seat that is occupied by somebody, but there is a seat that is empty, the mayor's position, right? The local body elections are all, hasn't had a councillor, or the local body elections hasn't happened at all. So why aren't you pushing for that and basically starting off with turning the city around first?
No, we have, it's also there. We have to do that. But it's not just one city that makes a state.
Well, that's a good place to start, right? That would be a good place to start.
No, but there are many cities. Our problem is we think only about Chennai. But we'll have to start with all the cities. But I'm talking even further. I'm talking about smart villages. Leave alone smart cities. I want smart villages. That's where we are going. That's where we want to travel towards. The cities will automatically become smart when it starts there. Believe me, it's a ripple effect, but it will happen.
I have a question to you. Politics in Tamil Nadu and elsewhere in India has always been associated with populism, one, and the politics of identity. And when I say politics of identity, it could mean various things, including caste, including class, including various sectoral identities. Do you think that's a bane of politics, or do you think that you're going to change that?
It has been the bane of the whole country. Caste is the ailment that we have to come over. In Tamil, leprosy used to be called Tolu Noi because it's worthy of prayer. They were so frightened of that disease. But we have beaten it. Now, இப்போ இருக்க தொழக்கூடிய நோய்ங்கிறது வந்து ஜாதி தான். That is frightening me. It's not an easy thing. You cannot simply make it go away. But we all can try. See, our generation is stuck with that. But the next generation should be saved from that illness. That's all I can say. We have scars, pock marks on our face of that disease all over the state, all over the country. So I think we're done. Yeah.
The last word, Dr. Kamalhassan, is if you stand for something very worthy, you can't afford to lose. But if you lose, then another generation or two generations will never attempt what you're trying to do. You recognize, you must understand that.
It's a blessing, but disguised. I think it's a warning in disguise. But I do understand. That is why when they asked me in Harvard, Mr. Kamalhassan, how do you like to go about it? There are two routes where you have these strategies, and then first election you lose, and then the next election you become the opposition leader, and that gives you... I said, sir, I'm 63, I don't have the time. Give me an idea that will help me seize power. It's as simple as that. Can you help me do that? And they said yes, and that's what they are working on. I believe them, so let's see what happens. But that's the tenacity with which I'm working, and I take your words. I'm heeding to the kind of your apprehension is actually concern for me. It validates my position very well, especially in this audience. Thank you, sir.
Leadership vision for Tamil Nadu. We've started the series.
இந்த வீடியோ உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருந்தா ப்ளீஸ் லைக் அண்ட் ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க. மறக்காம எங்க சேனலை சப்ஸ்கிரைபும் பண்ணுங்க.